Okay guys, you can tell by the title and just how long this video actually is that this video was desperately needed in the credit card world. And firstly, this video is going to be broken down into two parts. Firstly, what we're going to be talking about is how exactly to earn 1 million Hilton Honors points in a relatively fast amount of time. And then all of the tricks I've learned throughout the years just by using Hilton credit cards and staying at Hilton properties in a lot of different places. And actually some unique ways that you've never heard before in actually earning Hilton Honors points in a pretty easy way. And then secondly, we're going to be going into how exactly to redeem said 1 million Hilton Honors points for max value, because we know that most people are not getting the most amount of value from their Hilton points. And so today I'm going to be showing you many real life examples for Hilton bookings literally across the globe. And yeah, I actually did spend 12 plus hours researching every city and country on the entire planet to outright find the most efficient and the most valuable way to actually redeem your Hilton Honors points, hands down, as well as just some other options that you may not be aware of, like did you know you could actually transfer your Hilton Honors points to transfer partners, much like Amex points can do? Well, we'll go into all of that very soon. And then a little bit later, we're actually going to be doing a test booking of how you could possibly redeem 1 million Hilton Honors points for a life-changing journey to the Maldives. So just make sure you have a little bit of time to watch this, because this is going to be quite literally the most comprehensive and thorough breakdown of Hilton cards and points and redemptions known to man. Yeah, I have no life. So let's get started. Okay, so there actually are a few different ways to get 1 million Hilton Honors points in a relatively short amount of time, and it doesn't really take that much effort. So a couple caveats to know is just to earn this amount of points, you're probably gonna have to be spending around $10,000. Now have no fear, of course this doesn't have to be done all in the first year. This can be done over a 10-year period. So don't feel like with this strategy that there is an absolute rush and you can do it at any point in your journey. And number two, just a prerequisite is just make sure you have a credit score of around 720 or higher before you implement anything you see in this video today. And then I guess thirdly, just make sure you're not in debt. I mean, we're not trying to spend money that we don't have, right? So just make sure we're out of debt, good credit score, and then we can continue on and earn these life-changing journeys. So there actually are a few ways to earn this amount of Hilton Honors points, but there are two in particular that I am very familiar with, and that's what we will be talking about in today's video. Number one, which a lot of people actually don't talk about, is the Amex strategy. That's right, if you've been in the ecosystem of American Express, you know that you're earning membership reward points, and most of the time you're earning high amounts of points just by getting the sign-up bonus, whether it be on the gold, the green, the platinum, and some other no annual fee lower tiered cards, right? Now what you could possibly do is you could actually take your American Express points, transfer them over to Hilton Hotels, since American Express and Hilton have that partnership. And not always, but fairly often, there are actually going to be bonus multipliers on converting those points over. Like I saw recently, I saw a 1 Amex point to 2.5 Hilton points ratio conversion. So if you just take 400,000 American Express points, transfer them over to Hilton Hotels via that ratio, and that'll equal about 1 million Hilton Honors points. And basically for me, the way I earned close to 400,000 Amex points, which is I just signed up for the green card, the gold card, the platinum, and the Charles Schwab platinum, ergo close to 400,000 points. So there we go, chop chop, video's done, right? Well, not necessarily, right? Because that is one way to actually get 1 million Hilton points, but it's not the most efficient way to use your American Express points. Typically people want to transfer them over to flight partners, etc., for a lot more value. So it's not really the be all end all. So now let's go on to number two, which is the main strategy of this video, which is called the Hilton strategy. So if you're unfamiliar, American Express and Hilton have the partnership, right? They have their own co-branded credit cards, and right now there are actually 4 different Hilton cards that you could possibly sign up for that do in fact all have sign-up bonuses. Number one is the Hilton Honors no annual fee card, and at the time of this filming, it may change by the time this is released, but they have a sign-up bonus of 70,000 Hilton Honors points and a free night certificate after spending $1,000 in the first few months of opening the card. Number two is the Hilton Surpass credit card, and typically I've seen this sign-up bonus of being around 130,000 points and a free night certificate as well, and that's after 2,000 spent in the first 3 months. And then the Granddaddy Hilton Aspire card, this sign-up bonus rarely changes, but usually it's around 150,000 Hilton Honors points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. And then also number 4, which is the Hilton Business Credit Card, which also has a $4,000 spend requirement, and they are also offering at the time of recording 150,000 Hilton Honors points. So right then and there, the required spend is about $11,000, and at the end of those $11,000 spent, you will have accumulated about 500,000 Hilton Honors points. Okay, so right then and there, I didn't really have to do too much work, and I already am at 500,000 points, right? So not bad. But what can I do to make up the other half, right? I mean, I just got all the cards. What else can I possibly do? Enter the upgrade portion of this strategy. So if you're unfamiliar what an upgrade actually is, it's essentially like, say we just got that no annual fee Hilton card, right? And after holding that credit card for about 12 months, they can essentially target us for an upgrade offer, which is essentially wanting to get more of your business, trying to lead you up that credit card Hilton ladder to where you have to pay a little bit more annual fees. And by doing this, for the most part, 99% of the time, they're going to be offering you a new sign-up bonus. Now, I've seen this range anywhere between like a 25K upgrade offer all the way to the actual sign-up bonus on the card itself. So if we're just going from the no annual fee to the Surpass card, that could be anywhere between 25K and an extra 130,000 Hilton Honors points just by upgrading the card and having a little extra additional spend to meet that requirement. And basically, there are 3 upgrade offers available if you have every single card that we talked about so far. And remember, this is going to be in the game of years, right? This can't happen in a short amount of time. Based on the Card Act, a card annual fee can only change once every 12 months. So with this, you'll never get a mail-in offer or an upgrade offer via email for one of these cards unless you've held that credit card for 12 months. So let's just go down the ladder here, right? So let's just say that it's January 1st and we just have got approved for a no annual fee Hilton Honors card. And then, maybe a little bit later, like I did, I waited about a month later and then I got the Hilton Surpass credit card, right? And then maybe you were one of these people that were really crazy and you just had so much spend to put on your credit cards that you decided to also subsequently a few months later get the Aspire card as well. Now again, it doesn't have to happen all in the same year. You can get the Hilton no annual fee now. You can get the Surpass next year and the Aspire 2 years from now. It all depends on your life situation. So cool, great, grand. Now we actually have accumulated all 3 of the personal cards, right? So now what happens next? After holding that initial $0 annual fee Hilton card, right, for the first 12 months, you will hopefully start getting upgraded offers 12 months later. So now we are in January the following year. And they will ask you to upgrade your basic Hilton card to the Surpass card. Boom, now you got that. Also, a year after getting your Surpass credit card, hopefully they're going to be sending you some mail stating like, hey, upgrade your Surpass to the Aspire card. So that's 2 upgrade offers right then and there. And then where is the third one? So the third one comes in, remember that initial $0 annual fee one that you have upgraded to the Surpass? That's right. A year after that, they can ask you to upgrade that Surpass now to a second additional Aspire card. Ergo, letting you get the 3 personal cards and then 3 additional upgraded offers, which could be anywhere, like I said, between 25K and the sign-up bonus, so probably around 70 to 150,000 for each of these credit cards. So where is the total value of all of the upgraded offers? So I would say it's going to be anywhere between 75K and 430,000 Hilton Honors points earned from those upgrade offers alone, and the spend on that is going to be between probably 4,000 and then again an additional maybe $10,000 worth of spend. So now at total, if we got these 3 credit cards and these 3 upgraded offers, that's going to be anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 worth of spend. Again, could happen over your lifetime. Doesn't matter. Okay, cool. So you're saying, Anthony, so then at the max then, if I just do the 3 cards and the 3 upgrade offers, the most I'm going to be able to get is between 575K and about 930K. So it's getting close to $1 million. It's getting a little bit closer, but it's not exactly there yet. So Anthony, how am I getting to $1 million, right? Is this clickbait? Well, one thing that I think is fairly interesting is, remember how I said you had to spend between $10,000 and $20,000, right? That's how much you have to spend to get all of these points. Now, what you could possibly do to kind of game the system that much more is, if you've ever noticed through your emails, if you're a Hilton member, Hilton will actually allow you to buy points for their program. And typically they're very expensive, so most people don't actually take advantage of it. Typically you're spending about 1 cent per point, which is super, super overvalued for what you can actually redeem them for. But very often, I would say at least 2 times a year, I have seen bonuses of 100% on all the points that you buy. And the most I've ever seen was actually the ability to buy 240,000 Hilton Honors points that they will then match for you. So that's right, you would end up spending $2,400 and you would actually get about 480,000 Hilton Honors points deposited right into your account. And since Hilton points are actually bought through points.com, they will actually count towards the minimum spending requirement that you need to hit on that 10 to 20K. So at least you know you have $2,400 covered of that 10,000 total in your first 3 cards. And not only are you getting closer to hitting that minimum spend, but you're also getting 500,000 points in the meantime. So if you're someone that is looking to book out a trip for Hilton and really trying to maximize your Hilton points and you have a vacation in mind, this might be a really good route because you're spending $2,400, but you're getting something back for it that you're going to be able to redeem in the future. You're almost like prepaying for a hotel in that case. For a pretty sick bonus. I mean, if you get that bonus, you're now essentially buying them at half a cent per point, and a little bit later, I'm going to show you redemptions that I found in excess of 1 cent per point. So you're kind of like doubling your money by doing this. Okay, so Anthony, now I understand now. Okay, so you're saying if I just stack all 3 of these personal cards plus the business card, get the 3 additional upgrade offers, and I take advantage of the Hilton points buying bonus. So now we're talking, and now the minimum that you could possibly get by doing all of this will end up being about 1.055 million Hilton Honors points. And then also, if you do factor in the highest upgrade offers available, you'll actually end up much higher at about 1.41 million Hilton Honors points, which is not bad. And then on top of that, don't forget that these cert passes very often are coming with free night certificates. So you're not only going to be getting at least 1 or 2 of those, but then also the Hilton Aspire card also comes with its own free night certificate. So you'll have 2 of those. And then right now, the Hilton Business card also has a free night certificate. So at the end of it, you're also going to have not only over 1 million Hilton Honors points, but also about 3 to 4 free night certificates that you could use at basically any Hilton property in the world, as long as it's a standard room, right? Okay, cool, Anthony, but I've actually kind of heard this before. What have I not heard about earning Hilton Honors points? Well, here's something that I've done recently that I don't think a lot of people actually talk about because they don't want to deal with the hassle, but I could say firsthand that it seems like a lot of value. That's right, I'm sure you've seen the email, I'm sure you've gotten the letters in the mail. I'm talking about the Hilton Grand Vacations timeshares, baby. That's right. If you guys have been on the live streams, you guys may have seen, but I have booked a Hilton timeshare in Las Vegas, to which itself had its own bonus for Hilton Honors points as long as I just sat through their 2-hour timeshare meeting. So total was about a 4-night stay for about $160. So yeah, I had to pay that out of pocket, which, quick little hack, did you know that if you have the Hilton Aspire card and you have that $250 resort credit, that the resort actually counts towards those timeshares? So that $160 could have actually been $0, but sorry, side tangent. And these timeshare meetings will pay you anywhere between 50 and 100,000 extra Hilton Honors points just to sit through their meeting. So what did I get as an offer? So long as I go there and hit the timeshare meeting, I will be getting gifted 100,000 Hilton Honors points. And Hilton, at the time of this recording, actually allows you to stay in one of their timeshares once per year. So that essentially means that over the course of the next 3 years, while you're gaining and accumulating all these credit cards and the upgrade offers, you can actually stay in one of these timeshares every single year anyway, and probably earn between 150 and 300,000 additional Hilton Honors points, bringing your grand total to probably right around 1.2 to 1.7 million Hilton Honors points at the end of 3 years. Like, that's pretty cool. So boom, that's pretty wild, right? I mean, let's just take a second and think about that. Like, whoa, in the span of like 2 to 3 years, I was able to earn like 1.5 million Hilton Honors points. Now, of course, 1.5 million points doesn't mean anything if they're worthless, right? So just stay tuned. In about a few minutes, we're going to be talking about redemptions and how to redeem them for max value. Now, what have we not mentioned so far? So what we didn't mention was actually all of the points multipliers on the Hilton cards themselves. I mean, look at all of these multipliers on restaurants, gas stations, Hilton stays, etc. We didn't even talk about all of the maximum potential you can get just by using these said credit cards over the years. And honestly, that is so variable. It depends on you, how often you're going to use them, that I'm not going to include in this video, but just imagine it's a bonus, right? And another thing we didn't mention is the ability to pool your Hilton Honors points. That's right. If you didn't know, you could actually, between you and 10 strangers, friends, wives, however many you have, you can actually pool all of your points together into one single account. And that's going to be capped up until about 500,000 points that you can send out every single year, but a cap of 2 million points that you can receive every single year. So technically, like in my example, my fiance could also do the exact same thing and get every single card, every single bonus, spend every single dollar that I did, and also get her own 1.5 million points, and over time send that to me. So it's not necessarily just a 1-player setup. It could be a 2-player setup, 3-player, up to 10 different people could pool all their Amex points into one singular account for, again, the most insane vacation you could possibly think of. I mean, 10 people at 500,000 each, it's 5 million. A couple caveats, like I said, is just up to 500,000 you could send every single year, 2 million that you receive every single year, as well as you and your 10 people just have to be Hilton Honors members, which you could do for free. You could sign up immediately and get it done in 5 minutes, but you just have to be a Hilton Honors member for at least 30 days before you can actually send and receive points, and you just have to have a minimum of 1,000 Hilton Honors points to be able to transfer them. So that's pretty much it. And basically, step by step, I'll show it on the screen right here, but essentially just go to the points pool request page, put in their name and their email address, and once they actually receive that email, they're going to accept it. And they're going to click pool your points, and then they're going to be prompted to log in, directed to the pool points page, and then they're going to show how many points they actually want to send to the recipient, aka you. Bam, bam. You got all the points in your singular account, and now you've become the god of the world. And this becomes essential when you start maximizing the 5th night free by being just a Hilton Silver member, but more on that in just a little bit. Now, one thing I actually want to mention that's super important that a lot of people don't talk about, and it's something you really need to know before we get into the whole redemption game, and listen up. Hilton points do expire. That's right, after 2 years of inactivity, so 48 months, if you never use your Hilton cards, you never use your points, they can actually expire. So be safe with that. And if you want to ensure that your points are never going to expire, just make sure you do one of these few things, which is one, just stay at a Hilton hotel. That's right, you could use your points for an award stay or just book a paid stay to earn more Hilton points. And also number 2 is actually just using your Hilton card, right? As long as you use your Hilton card for any reason, any purchase over the next 12 months, your points are secured and they're not going to expire. But I know a lot of us will get our Hilton credit cards and then we'll sock drawer them, never to be seen the light again. So just make sure you're using the card at least every single year. And if your points have already expired, you still may have recourse. As they say right here, Hilton allows folks to reinstate their points if it's less than 18 months since they expired. Occasionally it'll come at a price though, and they say you're gonna have to spend about 25 cents per point just to get them all back, which is that's not good. Just use your cards, right? Or stay at a Hilton hotel, all right? We love Hilton. Just use the dang thing and then you're going to be fine, right? Okay, cool. So now we've talked about how to actually earn all of those points, which is kind of the easy part. And now we have to go into the second part of this video, which is going to be how to actually redeem them for max value. It's the most toilsome, the most controversial thing. Maybe not the most controversial thing, but I think one controversial thing in the credit card community is that Hilton points are essentially garbage and nobody can really find the most valuable way to actually earn them until today. So there are more than a few redemption options, believe it or not, to actually redeem your Hilton Honors points for things that aren't Hilton hotels. For example, they actually have shopping portals for a bunch of different things within their portals that you can actually buy with your Hilton Honors points. If you're unaware, there actually are transfer partners. You can actually transfer for different airlines, kind of like how you would with membership award points to their transfer partners. Well, Hilton has their own. And actually pretty good at that, transfer partners. However, I will mention that the redemptions that you're actually getting, the conversion ratios are just don't do it. It's really not worth it unless you literally have no other currencies other than Hilton points and you want to take some flights abroad. Then most likely it's never going to be a viable option for you, but at least it's there, right? That's pretty cool. They also allow you to redeem points at Lyft rides, for car rentals, and even, of course, redeeming Taylor Swift tickets on Ticketmaster, baby. Which, truthfully, I probably would have paid Hilton points versus out of pocket, but that's just me. All right, but enough fooling around. Let's actually talk about the best way to redeem these points. So over the years, the Points Guy and a few other websites have always mentioned that the Hilton Honors points are only worth about 0.5 cents to maybe 0.6 cents per point worth of value. So essentially, every 100,000 points that you earn is about $500 to $600 worth of value, right? So it's not horrible, but not the best redemptions out there, especially when you have Hyatt out there that are redeeming points at 3 cents per point worth of value. So that's wild. Well, like I said, I can't stress how much I scoured. Like, I quite literally scoured every single city and country on planet Earth. And it was hard. I'm going to be honest. Finding the best redemptions was really hard. And I found, on average, the Points Guy was fairly correct. I mean, most hotels were anywhere between 0.4 cents and 6 cents per point worth of value. So I would say he's pretty right on with those redemptions. But of course, I don't just roll over, right? I go crazy and I want to see the details of every single property. So I found ones that were in excess of 1 cent per point, which is not bad. So let's get right into it. And one last caveat, which is at the time of this recording, this is what the values are. This is what I found. They are subject to change day by day, month by month. So the ones that you see in this video may not actually be still available by the time you search for it, but just know that they are out there and at any time of the year, you're going to be able to find a deal. So I say all that to say is just do some scouring yourself after I give you all this information, and I'm sure you're going to find a ton of valuable properties just like I did. Okay, so a couple tips and examples that I found over the course of my research, right? So the first tip is, I noticed that for domestic travel, between October and November, typically were the best dates that I got the most cents per point worth of value ratio. And this doesn't matter if it was in a cold state or if it was in a hot state, whether it's California or Colorado. I found that October to November had the best ratios for redeeming those points. And when talking about international travel, I actually found February and maybe March, but for the most part in February alone, happened to be the best value ratio redemptions that I actually ever saw. And I checked every single month, and February just tended to be the best for what I was searching at this current time. And you've seen me throw the term around, but before we actually get into the redemptions, you have to know how to actually calculate cents per point. So the easiest way to calculate cents per point is just to take the cash price of whatever the Hilton stay you're trying to stay stay at. So say it's a $300 a night stay, multiply that by 100, so in that case it would be 30,000, and then divide that number 30,000 by how many points it's actually worth per night. So for example, if it is a $300 stay, that's 30,000 after multiplied by 100, and say the stay itself was only 30,000 to actually stay there, then you divide 30,000 by 30,000 and you get 1 cent per point. If it was a $300 cash price and 60,000 Hilton Honors points, well then you do the math again, and now that's 0.5 cents per point, which is the average. And the last tip is that if you can't find properties that actually offer good cents per point, what I've done over the years is every time I'm traveling, like if I'm driving up to New York or back to South Carolina or to Nashville or to Florida, a few of these places that I drive, I'll actually use all my Hilton points for these 20K a night stays at Hilton and Garden Inns. Some people mention they're not the greatest hotels, but I just find that in between travel, like traveling on the road, that these could be just the way you use your Hilton points. And maybe once you get to your destination, use the really valuable Hyatt points, etc. But that's another caveat, just what I like to do. So the first property I actually wanted to list here was the Hilton in Richmond, Virginia. This one right here. This one had a cash price of $428 every single night, and the Hilton points required to stay here are actually 50,000. Now this is a pretty good redemption. So if you just do the math, 428 times 100, that's 42,800 points divided by 50,000 points to stay there, and you get to a cent per point value ratio of 0.85, which is again much higher than the 0.5 or the 0.6 that the points guy usually touts. Which means instead of your 100,000 Hilton Honors points being worth just $500, now they're worth $850 worth of value. So not bad. Second one is here, the Embassy Suites in Greenville. So this property is $469 a night with 60,000 Hilton Honors points to book it, which comes out to about 0.78 cents per point, which is again higher than the 0.5 or the 0.6. This next one is pretty wild. This is the Hampton Inn in Kentucky. This one has a cash price of $198, but only 20,000 points to book this stay. And if you do the math, that's 0.99 cents per point, which is double the average. So basically 1 cent per point, that's super valuable. What about out in Las Vegas? Do we have any redemptions out there? Well, I found 2 of them. Number 1 is the Waldorf Astoria, which you guys know is like the highest class Hilton you could possibly book, one of them. And this actually is the lowest redemption booking that I actually got on this entire list today, but I thought it was not horrible, so I decided to give it to you guys today. This one has a cash price of $547 every single day you stay there, and a Hilton points redemption of 80,000 points. So, aka 0.68 cents per point. So a little higher than the average. Not the greatest though. But then again, if you do use your Hilton Honors points there, typically you'll get some other credits and stuff that will actually raise that cent per point value because you're getting free food and drinks and sometimes an experience credit while you get there. It's very variable. It's just based on the hotel that you're staying at. The second one is actually the Home 2 in Las Vegas. This one has a cash price of $348 with a nightly rate of 40,000 Hilton Honors points, which gives us a total redemption of 0.87 cents per point. Again, not too bad. As long as we can get close to 1 cent per point, we're in the money. Now let's take our trip all the way to Texas. We're going to go to Dallas here, and I can see a really, really fancy hotel. The Whole Arts Hilton Curio Collection, which I tend to like the Curio Collection. That's going to be $530 a night with a redemption of 70,000 points, which equates to 0.75 cents per point. If you want to mosey on down to my home state of New York, you can go stay at the Conrad, which again, very high up, luxurious property you could possibly stay in. This one has a cash price of $717 per night with a redemption bonus of 90,000 points per night, which is giving you a 0.79 cents per point, so almost 0.8 cents per point worth of value ratio. And then lastly, this wild hotel I found all the way over in sunny California, which is called the Oceana Santa Monica. It seems like it's one of the most luxurious stays out there. It's about a $908 a night stay for a redemption bonus of 105,000 Hilton Honors points per night, giving you the cents per point at 0.86. So not too bad. And one actually side thing I noticed with this hotel in particular is that actually that 105,000 Hilton Honors points room is actually considered a standard room, which essentially means that if you have an Aspire or just any free night certificates with any other Hilton cards, you could actually stay in this hotel completely for free and use that certificate on that standard room, which I thought was pretty cool. Which for a hotel that's $900 per stay, that basically pays the Hilton Aspire annual fee of $450, 2 over in just 1 stay. One caveat, which you guys are probably thinking, is that, yeah, these are not bad cents per point value ratios, but some of these hotels have super inflated prices, so it's not necessarily as valuable as you may think. And while I do agree in some cases that is true, I tend to see that the inflated prices are also on luxurious hotels themselves, so you actually get a couple additional benefits while you're there that give you also some money back in your pocket while you're staying there. But I mean, come on, let's just look at that Kentucky stay at 1 cent per point. I get it. Who's going to Kentucky anyway? But, you know, I digress. Okay, so that's domestic. So what did I learn about booking Hilton hotel stays domestically? Well, I found that it's actually not that bad at all. And I know a ton of people mention that they probably are better suited for international travel and not domestic. Maybe don't book them in the summer, etc. But I found that, I mean, booking in the winter months, you know, around October, November, that I actually got the best value redemptions possible and able to book some pretty decent hotel stays domestically itself. So I'm actually fairly impressed because all the Hiltons that I've stayed in are usually around 0.6 cents, maybe 0.7 cents per point. So I'm actually pretty impressed that I found ones 30 to, 40% higher in some cases. But I will say that if you are booking in any time that are not in like those fall months and you're kind of booking in summer, those are going to be way more inflated prices, which means your cent per point valuation is going to be going down and down. So it might just be a thing that if you're booking domestically, just go book it around the fall time. I love the fall time. I have a lot of nostalgia for the fall time. It's not bad. Now, what a lot of people have mentioned is that the real value that you really get from Hilton points are in international travel and using those redemptions internationally. So let's see if they're right. Let's dive in and let's see all the ones I found internationally to see, are they actually better redemption options internationally than there are domestic? So let's dive right in. So now, something I mentioned earlier, which is one of the first things I noticed, which was out of any month in the entire year, around February to maybe March had to have the best cent per point value ratios for international travel. And I think that's actually perfect because anytime you go to some of these hot sweltering countries, like you're going to Spain, you're going to France, going to Italy, typically those are going to be the best months and they're not like outrageously hot. I think most people are kind of venturing into those countries during those months anyway. And all the redemptions I'm going to show you internationally are all between like the first 2 weeks in February. And actually, I just have to go start off first hot, show you the most valuable redemption I found in this entire video. It happened to be 30 minutes from Big Ben, big tourist attraction, and it was actually a Hampton Inn in London. This hotel had a nightly rate of £600 sterling, and when you actually convert that to US dollars, is about $785 for just about 45,000 Hilton Honors points per night. And if you do that calculation, you actually get to a value ratio of 1.74 cents per point. That's wild. So that essentially means if you wanted to stay in London 30 minutes away from all the tourist locations in a decent area. Don't worry, I checked if it was a safe area. Maybe you wanted to stay 5 nights. You could stay there for a cash price of around $4,500 after factoring in money conversions and taxes and fees. You could effectively stay there for 5 nights for only 180 Hilton Honors points. You might be thinking like, wait, 45 times 5, that doesn't equal 180. What are you talking about, Anthony? Well, did you forget that most Hilton properties actually allow you to get the 5th night free as long as you're a Hilton Silver status and above? You probably did. And the way that works is when you stay every 5 consecutive nights, they have to be 1 through 5 in one stay, the 5th night will essentially be free. So what once was $45K a night is now just $36K a night as long as you factor in that 5th night free. Which then if you do a calculation on that, you're now bringing your total cents per point value ratio to 2.5 cents per point. That's crazy. That's crazy. There is no, I don't think there's anyone that has topped that as far as redemptions. Maybe there are. Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you want to gain status with Hilton, just make sure you sign up. You're a member. But if you get any of the cards that we talked about today, like if you get just a no annual fee card, you're already going to be getting silver status. Surpass gives you gold, and then Aspire gives you diamond status. So no matter one of those 3 cards, if you get them, you're going to be gaining status and you're going to be able to have that 5th night free. Otherwise, if you're just a normal Hilton member with no Hilton credit cards, which I don't know why you would be one of those people, but then you have to spend a certain amount of nights per certain amount of stays every single year to get those statuses, which really is just the harder way to do it. So number 2, I guess, is it international if we're going to Mexico? I don't know, but it's called the Umbral Curio down there, and it's actually, so this hotel property is really, really nice. Cash price of it in US dollars is $427 for a 50K night per stay, which gives you a ratio of 0.85 cents per point. Not too bad. And if you also wanted to stay down in South America, we could also stay at the Conrad, the Punta de Mita, if I said that right. This one is an insane redemption. Of course, could be inflated, but it's also a really nice property. Nightly stay is $931, a whopping $931. And the Hilton Honors points redemption is 95,000 every single night, giving you a cents per point at just under 1 cent per point at 0.98 cents per point. Seems like Mexico's not bad for redemptions, at least in the conversions there. Whether they're inflated or not, cents per point are there. What about Italy? We know I want to go to Italy pretty soon, right? So what about the Hilton Lake? This is a hotel that I saw recently had a cash price of $732 per night with a nightly rate of 90,000 Hilton Honors points, giving you effectively a 0.81 cents per point value ratio. And this is a hotel that's right on the water, super extravagant. I think it has like a spa and a bunch of different things in it, but I'll show you some pictures on the screen. And then also let's look at the Conrad Chia Laguna Sardinia. Is actually one of the highest redemptions we found internationally. This one has a cash price of $958 every single night after converting from euros, and at 90,000 Hilton Honors points per night gives us a value ratio of 1.06 cents per point, which is decently high. And then lastly, I actually didn't find this in February. I found it in October, so it's the one caveat here, but it's the Conrad in the Maldives, baby. And as we know, everybody on YouTube says we can take these amazing vacations to the Maldives. So let's actually do the value redemptions here. Let's see how much it's actually worth. Cash price at this one, Conrad, really nice, is about $773 every single day, with a Hilton redemption of $120,000 every single night, giving you effectively a value ratio of 0.64 cents per point, so right in the average. Obviously, it's the inflated, I mean, it's the Maldives for crying out loud. But one thing I noticed that was fairly interesting is that this is 120 points per night, but it's actually still considered a standard room, which essentially means that if you do all those tricks we mentioned earlier in the video, have 2 Hilton Aspire cards, and have a couple free night certificates from your other credit cards, you can use all of them at this property. That's right, on that room, the standard room will work with your free night certificates. So 120,000 points plus a bunch of free night certificates can effectively give you a pretty easy week in the Maldives, which is, that's pretty cool. I don't care if it's 0.64 cents per point. I mean, staying a week in the Maldives for like, sorry, I get crazy. I'm like, that's awesome. I want to do that now. And one thing I have to mention is that we did hit a few different countries, and I told you I scoured every single country. I mean, I went to Japan, I went to Amsterdam, I went to, the Serbian countries. Actually, I think I left out Canada now that I think about it. I totally forgot Canada. Oh, Lord. But I hit most of the countries in the world, and really, these are the countries that actually gave me the most value ratio. So not to say that there aren't out there. Maybe if I check in a month from now, I'm going to see some other cent per point value ratios, but I say all that to say is, again, do your own research, check all these countries themselves. I never thought I was going to get crazy redemptions like that in England, but I did. So they're subject to change, and I love that because you never know when you're going to find a good redemption and you want to jump on it when it's available. So now let's get into the fun bookings, right? Like, this is what I think about when I think of fun bookings and how I could possibly redeem just 1 million Hilton Honors points for a life-changing and insane experience. Number one, let's actually use the examples we used earlier, right? Like, let's talk about the Hilton Lake Como. I know Chad Money Minutes is actually going out there pretty soon, and he's going to be staying there. So if you're a person that wants to stay at the Hilton Lake Como, like we said, it's 90,000 a night. But what I was thinking is, what if you want to stay 10 nights? That Hilton 5th night certificate actually works up until 20 consecutive nights, which essentially means that for every 5 nights that you book up until 20 consecutive nights, you'll go anywhere between 1 and 4 free nights for free. So if you wanted to stay at the Hilton Como at 90,000 points per night, you can essentially stay there for 10 nights, only pay for 8 of them. So it's essentially 72,000 points for the 10 nights, aka 720,000 Hilton Honors points to stay there for a full 10 days. Which then, if you factor in the cash price for that in euros, convert it to dollars, which would end up running you, I think, closer to like $7,500 worth of value for only around 700,000 Hilton Honors points, effectively giving you a little over 1 cent per point, which is crazy. Just 10 full nights, almost 2 weeks you could possibly stay. And if you just bump that up to 15 nights, so this means you're only technically paying for 12 of them, I mean, that's right around 1 million points. So if you wanted to spend 1 million points, you could stay for 2 weeks fully covered in Italy with just your Hilton points. That's pretty cool. And then lastly, let's talk about the Maldives, because I found this the most enticing, right? So take that stay we saw earlier. For 10 to 15 nights, you'll only have to pay about, which would end up factoring in 2 nights or 3 nights for free, right? The 5th night free, which does work at this property, for only between 700 and 1.2 million Hilton Honors points, and you can stay for a full 2 weeks in the middle of the ocean in your own cabin. That's crazy. Or a hut, or whatever you call it, a tiki hut. That's absolutely mind-blowing. That is a life-changing trip. I know a good friend to the channel, Richie. We've had him on a live stream before. He actually wants to do an amazing redemption for him and his wife for, I believe, his 20-year anniversary, and he wants to stay in the Maldives. He could easily do this trip. He's thinking he has to wait until 2030. He thinks he has to wait his whole lifetime. Dude, just earn like 700,000 Hilton points. Just sign up for a few of their cards. Do a couple timeshares. And boom, you could stay there for 2 weeks. And not to mention, if you have the Aspires, you can use your free night certificates there. So maybe stay there for 10 nights, get 2 fifth nights for free, and then stay there for 3 free night certificates with your 2 Hilton Aspires and your free nights from your Surpasses, right? Like, this world is wild and it's your oyster, so to speak, as long as you just know the right cards to play. And that's not even factoring in all the money you're going to be making by all the service that you get being in the Maldives and the life-changing memories that will be with you for a lifetime, right? And speaking of all the different cards we talked about in this video today, you could actually screenshot this right here, scan this QR code, so you can see all of the Hilton offers that my link personally has. And this way, if you sign up via the link, it's going to help me out for making this video for you guys. It's going to help you out, getting you the most valuable sign-up bonus possible. And this way you can get started on your journey of accumulating points. And then I'll see you in the Maldives in a couple of years and a couple timeshares later. And while these redemptions are great, a lot of this value really just stems back to a lot of these credit cards, and more specifically the Hilton Aspire card, which can get you free nights in the Maldives. So that's why you need to see the full power of the Hilton Aspire card and why I think it's the #1 travel card in all of the world currently on the market today. So watch that next, because I'm sure you're going to get a ton of value from it.